Welcome, everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, David Cremades, who is a CMO at From the Bench. For who of you don't know From the Bench, it is a leader in social sport games for mobile platforms. They have official licenses of more than 40 football clubs, including guys like Real Madrid, Juventus, Chelsea, Liverpool, and other names that I'm sure you know. They've been the games were been translated for 17 languages, and they have 50,000 new users coming on a daily basis. And without further ado, David, tell us about yourself a bit. How did you end up in From the Bench?
Hi, Olga, and thanks for having me here. It's my first experience in this kind of mobile conference. It's somewhat weird not to see the faces of the audience, but I'm sure that it's going to be a good experience. And yeah, I'm the CMO From the Bench, as you properly said. We develop mobile games, sport manager games. And what about myself? I studied IT. It's not the common thing among the CMOs, but I think it's a good thing to better understand the developers, both the developers and the marketing. You know that in the mobile space, the most of the marketing is performance marketing, that in the end has to do a lot with numbers. So it's a good combination, IT and marketing. And I have been the CMO for 5 years. I'm one of the founders of the company, but my first role here was to be an account manager to do some business development, working with the football clubs. That's all. We are now working with the NFL. We have worked with the NBA, and now we are trying to open the business to some new sports. We will be releasing a cricket game. We are now dealing with the Australian Football League as well. So
lots to come.
DNA, our DNA is sports. We and all that we do is related to sports.
That's cool. So how many are you there in the company and in your team? How is it all organized?
Mm-hmm. We are 30 people now, and we are located in Alicante, in Spain. That it is not common because all the Spanish companies are mainly located in Barcelona. But we founded the company here. We thought that it was going to be necessary to move to another city, such as Barcelona or London. But in the end, it was not necessary. The only problem is that we have to travel a lot. Mainly the CEO and myself, sorry. But it's very good to live here, good weather. To everybody that knows Alicante, it's in the southeast part of Spain, so we are close to the beach, and it's really good to live here. And we are 30 people, and in my marketing team, we are 5 people, including me. And we are organized. We have a person taking care of. We have one person taking care of the ad monetization. That it is quite important in our company since 2 years ago. That we are really focused on improving this part of the business because, as all the companies, it happens that only 2% more or less of the users pay. So we thought that we needed to find a way of monetizing the rest of the users, and we are really focused on that part, trying a lot of different strategies. We have a person for UA, one person for App Store optimization, and Live Ops. Live Ops is also quite important. Bear in mind that all of our games are linked to the reality. So the players within the game get the value of their real life performance. So the games are showing events linked to the reality. So in the end, that means that the games have to be updated on a daily basis, and it takes a lot of time. And myself,
Okay,
that
cool.
I'm taking care of everything, trying to have the good relationship with the app stores and trying to be featured and a lot of things.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you for the explanation. So you rely both on the organic user acquisition and the kind of paid one. I mean, you've been quite successful with that, and you have over 200,000 downloads in both app stores. Could you tell us a bit more about how you acquire users, and how does it work if you have a big brand behind you? Does it help or not? And how does it work for you?
Yeah, absolutely. It helps a lot to have a brand, and it indeed it was our marketing strategy. And the reason for that is because when we founded the company, it was in 2008, so it was a long time ago. We are one of the oldest companies in the mobile industry. When we funded the company, we didn't have money to invest to do marketing. So we thought that having a brand like Real Madrid, that it was our first customer, our first partner, was going to mean to have a lot of downloads because of the brand. And we were right. And we started to have a lot of organic downloads. And this is how we build the company. So that's why we have worked with more than 50 football clubs all around the world, NFL, NBA, and this is why the number of downloads, it's mainly organic. Maybe 80% of our downloads are coming organically, but they are not for free because we are paying a license. So it's a different way of paying for the users. But yes, it is really easy to get downloads if you have the NFL, for instance, as one of your brands.
Do they help you with promotion? Or it's solely your work to kind of launch a game and then, go with the promotion of the app?
Yeah, it really depends. Yeah. It really depends on the brand, on the agreement that we sign with them. Obviously, it's our goal to get some help from them. And we try when we are signing the agreement to have some social help from their side, but sometimes it's not possible. We have been working with the NBA for 5 years, and they never did anything. It was not possible because internally the social media was managed by a different company, and it was completely different. But for instance, with Real Madrid, they usually do a post twice a month, and it helps. Before Facebook changed its algorithm 5 or 6 years ago, it was really the difference, because with every post we had thousands and thousands of downloads on a daily basis just because of a post. When Facebook changed everything, our strategy had to change because it completely changed our business. With those posts, you get downloads, but not as many as before.
So how did you accommodate to that? Did you invent something new, or you still rely on kind of Facebook, but it's monetized, it's ads or something like this?
Yeah, we are at that moment, we understood that we had to do Facebook ads that we hadn't done before. So we were getting downloads organically but we had to learn how to do Facebook ads, and afterwards, we started to work on App Store optimization. That nowadays is one of our main strategies. To be sure that if you look for the NFL, our game is to appear the sooner the better. So this is how we are now working. Facebook ads, App Store optimization, and content.
Cool. Super, thank you. So yeah, as you told the story of how you had to, accommodate Facebook, let's say, interests and your interests. Could you tell a bit more maybe about the marketing activities you had and you counted on the most, and they didn't work, and how did you, solve the problem?
I don't know. I mean, we have run many campaigns that have not been successful, but I guess that
maybe just one, just like to
okay,
to share.
We had an initiative last year with the VIP users that we thought that it was going to perform well, but it didn't. And it was with the most VIP users, the ones that pay the most. We tried to contact them. We offered them a shirt, a real shirt, a physical price for them, to try to keep on them playing the game. Some of them had removed the app, so the idea was to have them back in the game. But it took us a lot of time doing this research of their data, getting in touch with them, prepare the delivery of the shirts with a box. It was a lot of time, and the most of them didn't return. They had the shirt, but they didn't return. So we spent money and we spent time, and it was not successful. So we stopped this campaign.
Okay. Well, thanks for sharing. I mean, it's always good to know that people have different experience, and successful companies also have both positive and negative experience. It's great to share these kind of things. Another question then here, you said that with App Store optimization is one of the most important things for you. Do you have any, let's say, KPIs, or like you have to rank for a specific amount of keywords, and it shouldn't go lower than, I don't know, X keywords? And how often do you run different experiments with it?
We try to update the keywords once per month, but sometimes it's not possible because we have many games and many languages. One strategy that we are doing in our games is to localize the game in many languages. That it takes a lot of time, but we have seen that it improved the performance on those countries, and we try to update the keywords on a monthly basis. Obviously, it depends on the game. The good thing is that our games are not the good thing, but our games are very seasonal. So when the NFL ends, users are not so kind to play. They are not so engaged with the game. So at that time, we try to focus on a different game, maybe football, maybe soccer or basketball, and we try to be focused on that game. Also in App Store optimization.
You said that you localize all of the games there, and what I read that you have 17 languages, games in 17 languages. What are the most, let's say, what countries prefer what game? Like, do you have any stats on that?
Sorry, I don't understand. What?
Well, let's say that, I don't know, Spain, for example, downloads more football games, and North America, I believe that it goes more for American football. Can you share any kind of insights on here?
Yeah, the insight could be the opposite. I mean, in the US, there are a lot of people looking for soccer games. That it is something that it is something that it's quite surprising, because everybody knows that in the US they love NFL, so it's something that everybody knows. I'm not going to discover anything, but we are having a lot of downloads from the US in our soccer games, a lot, and it's one of the best performing countries. And there are a lot of people playing those games in Spanish, for instance. That it is something surprising as well. So I think that soccer is growing a lot in the US, and most of the companies are changing their strategies just to be focused on that country.
Cool, thank you. So yes, you said that you were trying to also engage users a lot. What works the best for you in terms of user engagement? I mean, I see that, given free t-shirts didn't work well, but do you have any other tips and tricks, or what did work?
I have to say that in our company, we do this in a different way. That I know a lot of people from different companies, gaming companies, and they have the engagement team within the marketing team. We don't do like that. We have a BI team and they usually work on that with the product manager. And okay, we are aware of what they are doing, but our main goal is to have players, new players in game, and they take care of the engagement. So, I mean, engagement is not one of my concerns on a daily basis. Obviously, we see the engagement of the users that we are driving to the game, but we are not doing. We are not proposing things to improve that engagement in the game, because this is something that it is not our concern within the company. So, but I would say that in our case, the thing that the game is linked to the reality is the thing that makes the difference. So, to have new tournaments on a daily basis, if the Super Bowl is the next week, we will have a special tournament that makes that the user is playing the game more than ever.
Thank you. And do you work, do you analyze your user feedback? Like if you have any, tools in app, or do you work with reviews? Do you, analyze on what they request more, and do you implement it anyhow from kind of marketing point of view? Both marketing and product.
Yeah, absolutely. We take, we read all the feedback from the users. We try to answer all the comments.
That's a lot, I believe.
Yeah. It's really hard to do it, and we are using Zendesk for that. And we take into account the comments that they do. Sometimes it's easy to do, sometimes it's not, because they are. Many times, for instance, this is an example. They are saying that our games are not a simulator. We cannot do anything regarding that, because our game is a manager. So you are looking for a different game. But when they say something reasonable, and we try to help, we try to improve the game in the way they are asking. For instance, the users that really love our games, they love stats, and they are always proposing new stats to add within the game, and we do it because it's something doable, it's something easy for us, and it's always good to receive this feedback.
Cool. And how do you work with, I mean, you have localized apps, so do you have different teams seated on, helping users in different languages, or it's always English?
Yeah, the one of the problems of having localized the game into so many languages is that sometimes they try to speak us in, I don't know, so many languages that we don't have in house. So we try to reply in English, but we have English, German, Italian, Spanish for sure in house. So at least the main ones we have them in house.
Cool, thank you. I think that we are, we have 7 more minutes. So last question from me, and then we will move to the questions from the audience. So David, what do you love the most about working with so many mobile games and so many clubs?
Working with clubs is something really, really cool because it allows us to live very special moments. You see how passionate are users with these apps because of the brand. This is really, really cool. Working with so many apps in a small company, it's really, really stressful, to be honest, because you have to have clear that you have to be focused on different games on different moments, but it's really difficult to do it. So sometimes you are doing many things, but you are not really doing them properly because of that. So, but anyways, you feel alive because of you have so many things to do, but sometimes I could miss to be focused just in 1 or 2 apps, like many startups do, just to do the best just with 1 or 2, not with 10, 12. We had in the past 40. So yeah, this is what I like.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So let's choose 3 random questions here from the chat. So let's go with the first one. How do you communicate to your clients, to your users, that you want to that you've made some changes, and like for example, they ask for the stats? How do you tell them that you actually added it there?
Okay, this is a really good question because we are now implementing a different strategy. I talked about the RON strategy before with the VIPs. Now we are doing a different one. We haven't started, but we are working on that. We are trying to use Discord and WhatsApp to get in touch with our VIPs, and the goal is to get their feedback, how we can improve the game, and we will give them news in advance. We will show. We have many ideas because it's something that we are working on at this time. But for instance, we are going to show the icon, the new icon before, or just to ask for their opinion. We will share different icons to just. The idea is they have to feel important within our community. And we are trying to use WhatsApp and Discord. We are having some proposals over the table, but it's something that we haven't decided yet. But our idea is to be more involved with the community.
How do you choose the VIPs?
Because of revenue.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, in the end, it has to do with engagement, but engagement the most of the times ends with revenue, so all these KPIs are related.
Makes sense. So yeah, there were a lot of questions about localization. So was it first of all, how do you choose what languages to localize to? And was it an issue for you? How is it organized? If you can maybe tell a bit more about this.
For instance, if we work with NBA, we try to do a research to know what in what countries the NBA is trying to have presence, and this is something that it's good. It's easy because they have a lot of documentation about that, And even if we ask them in which countries they are doing their efforts to be more, to grow their audience, it's the ones that we localize the first. So it depends on the sport, but we usually look for the presence of the audience.
Cool. Let me check if there is anything else we can. Oh yeah, there is a question. How often going back to ASO? How often do you change graphic assets if you update keywords once a month?
I don't know. I try to do it twice, once every 2 months. Sorry, but it depends. Icon, maybe the first 3 or 4 weeks we change it a lot. We run a lot of experiments. After that time, we try not to change the icon. Just with, I don't know, maybe with Halloween we do a special icon, but it's the same with Halloween detail, or with Super Bowl, but we try to maintain the same icon during the whole season, just with slight changes. And once we have decided the icon, we start to do experiments with screenshots, feature images, and this kind of stuff.